Joining us now, Democratic Senator from Oregon, Jeff Merkley, ranking member on the Budget Committee. Senator, thanks for taking the time with us.
You bet.
The Treasury Secretary and the President say they're just trying to level the playing field here on trade. What's wrong with that?
Well, you know, they're making two different arguments. One is the president saying, hey, these are going to be permanent, so companies start investing in and bring your manufacturing back home. And then they're undermining their own argument by saying, wait, no, the president's just trying to trigger negotiations. I can tell you what he is triggering, and that's outright panic among virtually every industry in America. So concerned about the impacts of the tariffs themselves or the possible impact of retaliatory tariffs.
You're right. The president is seeing blowback from business execs, from some Republicans, from the markets. Senator Schumer said this is quickly becoming Trump's mission accomplished moment. Do you agree?
Well, I'm not sure what mission that Senator Schumer was referring to, but in terms of creating chaos in our economy, it's definitely mission accomplished. And I must say, I was back home in doing town halls in very red Republican counties this weekend in Oregon, and agricultural world is panicked. The manufacturing world is panicked. Citizens who would normally come out to my town halls and argue in support in those counties of Trump are coming out and saying, what's happening to America? Are we going to lose our republic? So it's not just the tariffs and the impact on their people's retirements and their impact on their jobs. It's all feeling like a huge tower coming tumbling down right now to people.
We mentioned how in the Senate, your chamber, there's been some bipartisan efforts to try to rein in some control when it comes to these tariffs, but the president's already said he's going to veto that Senate bill. Does Congress have any leverage over this?
Well, I think right now there would be very few of my Republican colleagues who would join such a bill, but just the fact that it's being discussed and discussed by individuals like Senator Grassley, certainly on both sides of the aisle, you have this concern. Realize what the president's using is the International Emergency Economic Powers Act that says that the president has the power to use sanctions and seizures. It doesn't even mention tariffs, so it's on a very thin ice legally to begin with. And then no matter where you come from, what kind of district you represent on the House side or what kind of state you represent, people are really panicked. So the president's going to hear a lot, mostly behind the scenes, but this public discussion tells you how much concern is being manifested.
Who are you talking to behind the scenes from the other side of the aisle?
Well, I'll keep those conversations private so I can keep having them. But it really kind of does, we were on the floor a long time last Friday night into Saturday morning. We had a lot of time to consult with our colleagues across the aisle. And they were already seeing kind of they were thinking about their weekends headed back home. I'll be interested now to hear more today about what they heard. But I'm pretty sure it all reinforced the concerns they were already laying out.
And we're talking about the pain threshold and whether there is a threshold, but we'll see.
Very high, yes.
We'll see after they go home, right? After a couple of weeks off and they have to listen and face their constituents. I do want to pivot while I have you to this other big story we've been following, developments when it comes to the president's deportation plans. I want to get your reaction to the Supreme Court siding with President Trump on using the wartime powers of the Alien Enemies Act to deport Venezuelan migrants to that notorious prison in El Salvador. They say the attorneys for the migrants should have filed their challenge in Texas, not D.C. Where do you see this fight going next?
Well, it's going to be refiled. The case is going to be refiled. I would have liked to have seen the court take a very strong stand. Here is another law. This is a 1798 law. When John Adams was president, when we were worried about a French invasion, and it involved when a nation is invading the United States of America. So again, a huge stretch from what the law was laid out for and how the president is using it. I wish the court had taken a stand on that instead of on technical grounds just saying it was filed in the wrong place. But the one very positive thing is they did emphasize, put an exclamation mark on due process. Due process is the protection of our freedom. A government, an out-of-control big brother government, just can't seize you off the street. There has to be a justification under the law, and you can take that justification before a court. Habeas corpus, due process. So the court said, absolutely, if you want to deport people who are gang members, you are going to have to follow due process. They're going to have to be notified. They're going to have a chance to make their claims so that they're not unfairly and inappropriately deported, and then this Alien Enemies Act will be adjudicated after it's refiled in the proper venue.